Hello and welcome everyone to episode 146 of One Piece at a Time, the One Piece read-through podcast where we read and discuss 5 chapters of the One Piece manga each and every week. I'm your host, Derrick and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host and freelance letterer at Shonen Jump, Brandon Bovia. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm, of course, Brandon Bovia, letterer of manga like Dragon Ball Super, Kaiju number 8, and many, many more. And I've been entertained watching kind of like our YouTube comments lately, because people are really split on this arc, and I'm sitting here kind of split too.
I think I'm remembering where the split is coming into place, but actually, you know what? You bringing up the YouTube comments is something we should mention before we get properly into our discussion of this set of chapters. Is we are expanding or have expanded our Patreon. Before, we always said about getting the next episode ad-free 3 days early. That's sort of always been our thing. But we have 2 more perks that are now available at higher tiers, but that you can enjoy. One of which is a bi-monthly Q&A where you can ask us any question you want about the manga, our thoughts on the manga, stuff related to it, or just general thoughts about the show, that sort of thing. And we will answer those as a patron exclusive Q&A. We're calling that "We're Taking Questions" as this little nod to the SBS, which is "I'm taking questions." So That should be fun. And then the other weeks, we got those bi-monthly, and those will be happening every other week. The other 2 weeks for the month will be bonus episodes where we cover other aspects of One Piece, whether it's the very first piece of animated anything whatsoever with One Piece, which is the Fight the Pirates Gonzack, I believe it is, to the various video games, just other topics where we make maybe tier lists of us talking about what our favorite arcs are and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of stuff beyond One Piece that the manga that we can talk about, the filler arcs, just whatever comes up that we can find and talk about, and just sort of have those extra episodes of more One Piece goodness that doesn't really fit in the same way as the movies or obviously the chapters of the main show, but have some bonuses there if you want to hear us just talk about all aspects of One Piece.
Whatever we can get our hands on.
Yeah, pretty much. It'll be fun to see all that. There's a lot of games. There's a lot of filler arcs. There's a lot of different subjects we can come up with. I'm pretty sure we won't have a problem finding bonus episodes to talk about.
Yeah. And there's a lot of actually, like, we're not quite there yet, but there are going to be a good number of like TV specials that are like actually like new story content.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think those might be. I'm not sure if those like should or shouldn't be main feed or not. I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But I don't know if any of them are so crucial that like they shouldn't be bonus content. If that makes sense.
It seems like it's probably better for bonus content, because are you talking about like the episode of East Blue and stuff like that, or is it other specials?
Yes, but there are other ones that are not arc. They're not arc recaps, but they're kind of like they're not theatrical movies either.
Right. I mean, we could also take the opportunity to do the like, how the anime will have the episodes like as a lead in for the movies. We could talk about those as well. Hey, we didn't say it was all going to be great content that we were going to be covering.
Yeah, I just know because we got a movie coming up in a little bit, and the anime lead-in for that one is horrible. I did watch it at the time. I remember hating it.
Oh no, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's over at I usually plug it at the end, but we'll do it at the beginning real quick. But that's over at patreon.com/Derrick Bittner. That's DerrickBitner. Sorry for interrupting the flow by plugging this away, but if you do want that bonus content, it will be appearing. The first Q&A should already be up, and the first bonus should be actually up by the time this goes on to out to the public as well.
Yeah, if you want to listen to us talk about One Piece, and it's a good way to support the show. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to do a little more for it.
Yeah, it'll be fun to get those extra bits in there and see what we can find to talk about. And obviously, if you have any suggestions, we'll take those into account as well. So
yeah, absolutely.
But Punk Hazard, I enjoyed this set But
Me
boy,
too.
there was one aspect that really let me down because I was like, oh, this seems cool. I'm like, and then you get to it, it's like, oh, but then you have another aspect that's like, oh, this is really good. So it's like, I'm split a little bit right now.
Yeah, because I do remember a good. I feel like I remember a good amount of this arc now that we're kind of into the nuts and bolts. I'm kind of like, why aren't people super hot on this? Because like for the last couple of weeks we were like, hey, this is great, and now I'm kind of like seeing where kind of like where the characters are split up currently, and kind of all of the how all we have, basically 3 or 4 different plots all kind of running concurrently. Like, okay, I can kind of see where the wheels are maybe starting to come off a little bit, but
yeah.
But like it's fine. I like this.
It's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's just it is what it is, and we'll get into it. And in fact, let's get into it with chapter 666. Oh dear, Yeti Cool Brothers. But you know what? Best cover because we get to check in on Bon Clay, the new queen of New Kama Land, which deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I actually explicitly remember saying that I didn't remember what happened to Bon Clay after Impelled Down, and kind of like where's Bon Clay in the time skip? Because I feel like I was like, I actually don't know. So it's cool to get that confirmation that he takes over. So yeah,
that's kind of fitting. It's pretty perfect.
Yeah, that's 10 out of 10.
Yep. We start up with the chapter itself, and last time we saw that Zoro, Brook, and Sanji in Nami's body had all been taken out by these Yeti Cool Brothers. It's like, what happened there? And they're just reporting in. It's like, you'll find those 3 bodies, collect them. We killed them. We're fine.
Yeah.
They're dead. And it's like, oh, geez, like, what the? That's one of the big questions. Like, what the heck did they do?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then the way that, we don't see them, they're just always in shadow, and they just they walk away, and the wanted posters are flapping about, and you're like, oh man, these guys seem, they're bad to the bone. Yeah, obviously, they're not dead, right? Like
no.
We wouldn't just have the Straw Hats just murked like that. But it is like, what happened?
What happened that they're at least knocked out like that? Like, what the?
Yeah, it's the setup is more exciting than the payoff, that is kind of unique, I think, for One Piece.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Normally our payoffs are amazing, but
Not so much in this time, but hey, Monet got some new glasses as she's going over the stuff.
Yeah.
That's when she lets known that Law has actually run into Straw Hat before, which immediately makes Caesar suspicious. Like, did you call him here? Points a gun at him. Like, okay, buddy, I've seen Law's power. I'm not.
Yeah, you're not. Although, I mean, what I really like about this sequence is we're really kind of getting to light, like, they don't trust each other. They're kind of at each other's throats, actually, Law and Caesar. Where it's just like Law's like, hey, them being here is kind of a nuisance for me too.
Yeah, exactly. I would have told you not to lock them away, and having all this exposed is kind of bad for me. And that's when we get a little flashback to how the two of them first met, where Law landed here, and basically was like, yeah, I want to stay on Punk Hazard. So it's like, why did Law come here? He's just like, I want to move freely about the lab and island, and I'm going to be happy. In return, I'll provide you with useful assistance, and we keep it clean and stay out of each other's business. So don't tell anyone I'm here, including Joker.
Yeah. Oh, he's like, how do you know that?
Yeah, Law's quite informed, it seems.
Yeah.
He's no idiot for sure. Caesar's like, okay, I suppose it works out for us. I don't trust you, but I think it could work out. And we actually get to see Monet before she became a harpy.
Oh, yeah, that's a good observation. I did not notice. But I guess that tracks, since we've got all these other kind of animal people here.
Yeah, I guess he just modified them as well. So that's interesting. And it was, again, thanks to Law that he was able to heal them or help them out. And that's the end of that flashback where they sort of first met, which isn't too insightful outside of like it's more of a union of convenience.
Yeah, basically, you really.
And Law is seeking something unique, something for himself.
Yeah, they're using each other for sure. I do kind of like this bit here though, where like Law's kind of like, you said that the kids would come back on their own, and that Caesar. I feel like if you hadn't known, I mean, well, I guess we already saw last week, like that he is a mustache twirling scumbag where he's like, oh yeah, I got the kids addicted to drugs. So they're going to come back because they want their candy. And then Law says, I don't like your style. You reminded me of someone else. I'm
curious about that one.
I don't know.
Oh, really?
I was like, who's he talking about? I don't actually know.
I certainly have no idea. I am well and fully in the dark. Like I'll just say it now. There's elements here I recognize, not at this moment, but throughout the set of 5 chapters. Like, oh, we're getting really close to where I left off. I can just feel it.
Yeah, and it just there's all these little bits. It's just like alluding to other things, alluding to a bigger mystery going on here. Yeah.
So that's interesting. But Law heads out, and Caesar's just like, it's hard to manage the clever ones, which is interesting in of itself. But we go back to where Chopper and Nami stay behind, and they're under attack. And they're just like, what's going on here? Luffy, where's Luffy? Well, they already left for the lab, so it's just the 2 of us. So what do we do? And they can't spot anybody. So like, they're somehow getting attacked, and they have no idea why.
Yeah, and definitely unfortunate that we've left Nami in Frankie's body and Chopper in Sanji's body is kind of the most helpless ones here.
Yeah, not really able to access those abilities, and we do see Luffy where he's like, they see those giant footprints, and there's something out there. We need to go back to Nami and Chopper because we can actually hear those explosions. So let's go back and check on them.
Yeah. Also, is that observation hockey, or maybe just he's seeing the footprints?
I'm not sure.
Actually, it was probably just the footprints. My initial read, first reading this set, I was like, oh, he can sense them. And I was like, oh wait, no, these big footprints here.
Yeah. But we get back to Nami and Chopper, and Brownbeard has woken up after falling asleep. Is like, oh, someone's coming to save me. It must be them. It's like, wait, do you know something about this? All right, who's here and what are they doing? It's like, she's actually like, I'll laser you, pew pew.
Yeah,
and Chopper's offended.
Yes, how dare you make fun of laser beams?
And all Brownbeard says is like, you won't find them. They never show themselves. Not even we know their faces. However, they always carry out a hit upon payment. The only thing we know about them is that their footprints are large and their voices are deep. And the only other thing we know is that they're giant beastmen covered in fur all over. An assassin duo that prowls the snowy peaks and peering when the blizzard strikes. We only know their names. They are Rock and Scotch, the Yeti Cool brothers. Like, you seem like you know a lot.
Hey, apparently they hail from a snowy land, age 25. Yeah. Also, Rock and Scotch are cool names, too.
Yeah. I like so much about the Yeti Cool brothers, but as we'll soon see, it doesn't always. And the other thing is, I keep expecting Oda to show their faces and make them goofy in some way, but he holds on to them being in shadow and just having this massive gun put into Brownbeard's face. It's like, oh yeah, you're in the hit list too, Brownbeard. It's like, what?
Yeah, he's like, is that you, Rock? I'm Scotch.
It's like, no, kill the Straw Hat crew. That's what we're here for, right? And rescuing me. And it's like, no, Master Hydra's to kill you too. And oh yeah, here's a recording straight from his mouth. And it's like, oh, what?
So, yeah, wow, just the proof. Poor Brownbeard, after he was just, it was pure glaze last week, right? He was like, oh, Master, he would never do anything, he's our savior. And then we learned pretty immediately, like, oh no, Caesar's a scumbag.
No.
So now I'm kind of shocked that like Brownbeard is getting a dose of reality just like pretty quickly.
And that dose is a bunch of bullet blasts to the face. Like, holy crap. If this wasn't One Piece, I'd assume he'd be dead, but we do see him alive again. But it really comes across as brutal.
Yeah, and again, like that's all we've seen of the Yeti Cool brothers is they have taken out 3 of the Straw Hats, and now one of them rolls up and just freaking domes Brownbeard in the face. It's just like, again, just shadowed, completely shrouded in mystery.
Yeah, they don't know, and they disappear before Luffy can really come in and do anything. They got away with Nami, actually. Well, Nami is Frankie, because the only reason they want Frankie is because he has Vegapunk's lasers, so that's why Caesar wants him. We go back to the laboratory rear entrance, and Law is going off on his own because he's cut up the guys trying to stop him, and he's gone rogue.
Yeah, basically, it's just not that I don't know, like, if he was ever really on anybody's side to begin with, so I don't know if you could go rogue, but he's certainly not being helpful.
No. Not to Caesar, at least, but that's the end of the chapter, where, again, it's really good setup for the Yeti Cool brothers being kind of ridiculously badass.
No, like, they're built up to be these huge threats.
They really do come across as just amazing assassins. But let's go ahead and move on to chapter 667, Cool Fight. And we get to see how Iva's doing. And there's not a whole lot to say, honestly. It's just, there's Iva.
Yeah, he's at the Kamabaka Queendom. Yep, that's pretty much it. Yeah, he's just chilling.
Yeah, not really much of a difference. He's just keeping up with what Luffy's up to, which it's still cool. I mean, I love Iva, so.
Yeah, no complaints.
Nope. We get into it, and Luffy's like, wait, they shot up their own guy? They weren't here to save him? And Chopper's just like, yeah, they eliminated him on the master's orders. And Luffy's like, wait, he basically worshipped that dude, and they did this to him? So this guy must be a twisted dude.
Yeah, Luffy's not going to be happy about that.
No. But yeah, basically, Nami's been kidnapped. They still have the children, but Luffy has to go get her back, so stay with the kids. And Frankie in Chopper's body is like, no, I got to go with you. I got to get my body back. So Chopper, give me one of the beans. He's like, you need the Rumble Ball? I'll give you one, but I don't think you'll be able to control it. He's like, no, just give me. He's like, okay, here's the rules. You'll be in the monster form for 3 minutes, and after that, you won't be able to fight for a while. So stick to the Kung Fu point if you can. What's Frankie do? Immediately,
You turn the page and he's just doing his super pose in the monster form.
I love that. Zuber.
And he can't control it, so he immediately attacks Luffy. Like,
it just leaves Usopp and Robin and Chopper just shocked. It's like, what in the world?
I love this bit. He's like, so what was Frankie trying to do again? Well, he won't be able to move after monster form, so he's not going to be much help. So he's just getting in the way. Yeah, entirely.
Frankie has just made himself useless. So
yeah, God, that's great though.
But yeah, Caesar's already planning to be brutal with Frankie. He's like, I'm going to cut out his laser system and toss the rest of him in the incinerator. So
wow, yeah.
I got a plan for the Navy as well. So evacuate all the soldiers from the island unless you want to die. So yeah.
Again, just scumbag.
Yeah. He's going scorched earth on this. So, but this part with Nami did crack me up. It's like, perverts, why would you kidnap me? And she's in Frankie's body saying this. I know I'm cute and I have a hot body and I can see what anyone would want to have me at their mercy, but what is this guy saying? He swings for the other team. That's cool.
Yeah. Hey, the Yeti Cool brothers. Progressive.
Very progressive. They're very progressive. We get their whole vocal tick where it's like, I don't like noisy guys. They're not cool. But the weapons attached to your body are pretty cool. But if we hand you over to the master, our reward will be so cool. But it's a cool one today. My body is so cool. So
I think their whole shtick, the Yeti Cool brothers they're a first draft idea. That is the conclusion I've come to. is the best gimmick that they have is that they just call things cool.
Yeah, I mean, we get to see more of their body, and honestly, their bodies, when you really take a look at them, seem closer to Chopper's like monstrous form because they still have like his sort of shorts one that he always wore.
Yeah,
the pre-time skip, and one has a more animal-like face. The other one is more human-like face. I think Rock has the more human-like face.
Yeah,
it's like we don't fully know their deals, but. Again, a lot of potential there, and I like they keep them in their faces hidden. Like, again, I kept expecting them to show their faces and then be just utterly goofy.
Yeah.
they're not. They never hit that point, other than the cool wordplay. But yeah, basically their whole shtick is people can't help but follow the footprints in the snowy mountains. So we have their footprints lead to places where they'll immediately get hurt, which in this case means right off a cliff. So Luffy and Frankie as Chopper fall off the cliff, are falling towards the trap they have. Luffy spots Nami as Frankie being tied up. He's like, oh, cool, I found you. Oh, there's spikes down here. And they're like, well, we killed him quick. And Luffy's like, no. He does his armament hockey and Gatlings them away.
Their whole footprints plan does kind of hinge on them being their targets. It hinges on them being stupid, but
just being so curious, like, ooh, a Yeti. We gotta find that.
I guess that is preying on people's natural curiosities. But I do kind of like this interaction here, where like Luffy's actually like he's applying his training from Rayleigh, where he uses the Gum Gum balloon to absorb like the shotgun shells. But Rayleigh basically told him how to aim.
Yeah, basically, he's like, don't just send them out wildly. That doesn't help you. You can really make this useful by going back at them with twice the force. So now we have the Gum Gum fire salute, which is that's a awesome. Great upgrade to the Gum Gum balloon. That, again, a natural extension.
Yeah, and I love the Luffy doing like the targeting with like his fingers. It's great.
That's pretty fun. One of the, I think it's Scotch, knocks down an entire pillar of ice to just crush them with. And Luffy is having more trouble with Frankie than he is with the Yeti Cool Brothers.
Yes, which is just hilarious.
The ice thing's about to land on them, and they'll be like, okay, we're going to shoot you with this KYP gas round to knock you into an alcohol-induced stupor, just like those other three. So I was like, there's the explanation for how they actually took them out. They got them drunk.
Yeah, basically. I'm surprised any amount of alcohol, anything, could actually knock out Zoro.
I feel the same way. But
yeah.
In a very impressive piece, Frankie Chopper grabs hold of the ice pillar and just chucks it. Just chucks it at that guy.
Yeah, and then immediately takes aim at Luffy. And I love that Luffy uses his elephant gun to knock out Frankie. He's just like, he uses your biggest attack. Yes.
Oh gosh. I don't know if we mentioned it before. I feel like we should have at this point, but it seems Luffy no longer has to suffer the after effects of Gear 3.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah.
Probably should have mentioned that way earlier, but
yeah. I would assume he can probably stay in Gear 2 for longer. I don't think that's ever like
it makes
said
sense.
Outright. But yeah, I think you can probably kind of fill in the blanks yourself on that. That is the downsides to his abilities, or he just like every other Straw Hat. They're all good.
Rock is taken out, and Scotch is trying to get away with Nami, and Luffy's going to go after him, and is like, "I'm sorry, Frankie Chopper. I'll have Chopper take a look at you later." And Frankie Chopper's knocked out, and
yeah, I'm just like, oh god, yeah, they really were barely useful.
Basically, Scotch is like, he's not going to be able to catch us. This is our backyard. And then he comes into sight of Law. It's like, good timing. Straw Hat Luffy's here. And Law just immediately cuts him into pieces.
Law is a monster. I'm telling you. He'll just show up and just start cutting people in half. Like he is unstoppable.
Mm-hmm. And I like the fact that this guy, even in pieces, it's like pulls out this giant knife to like, what the heck was that? Tries to stab him, and then he gets hit by this counter shock move, which seems more physical for him, and just knocks him flat and out immediately.
Yeah,
that's the end of the Yeti Cool Brothers. Which
that's it. Yeah,
they're not like super strong. But it also feels like, I don't know,
frauds,
lacking?
Absolute frauds. Yeah, well, frauds, but also Law is just again, he's just on another level right now.
Yeah, he absolutely is, and it also is like it's somewhat funny, but it's also a little to find out that the other group got taken out because they were basically forced to be drunk.
Yeah. When sort of of course, as the reader, you're like, yeah, they're fine. Like, but you would think from seeing them all knocked out like that, like, oh, the Yeti Cool Brothers are like, oh, they're gonna be tough. And it isn't really,
really.
like played for. If it was played for laughs, that would be one thing, but it really isn't.
Surprisingly not. They are kept pretty serious throughout, which...
Yeah, so it just feels anticlimactic. And I don't want to get ahead of myself entirely, and I may be wrong about this, but from my memories of where this arc goes, I feel like we probably could have actually like had some more villains running around. That might have been helpful.
Caesar definitely seems to have a lack of any real minions.
Yeah, so like... I kind of wonder. I might have to double back to this once we finish the arc, but like it's something about like the build up to how sudden that they're taken out that really feels like Oda. It feels like he had a plan and said, "No, never mind."
We're gonna keep things moving.
Yeah, which is it's like surprisingly sloppy.
Yeah,
in a way that you don't really expect.
It feels like we could have gotten one decent fight out of this, but obviously Luffy's still extremely strong and you don't want him to struggle too much with this, but the fact that he's more concerned with Frankie Chopper than Cool
certainly.
So
it's but more importantly, we have Law and Luffy in the same room now. We got a little bit of a chance to talk. And that's what Law's here for.
That's what Law's here for. Also, real quick before we get into the Law's whole thing, I love that Luffy breaks Nami out of her chains with his teeth. He bites them off. And there's just that shocked look on her face.
It's like, huh? What? Oh, man. Sight gags are so good. Yeah. I didn't even notice that.
The sight gags of this arc are, I think, some of the strongest in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, why did Law come back? He's thought it over. He's like, it's definitely a coincidence it brought you here, but, this island harbors a crucial key powerful enough to throw the new world into disarray. There are two ways to survive on the sea. Affiliate yourself with an emperor or try to be one. You don't strike me as the type to serve others. Like, nope, I like being captain. Then form an alliance with us. An alliance? Together, you and I might be able to pull it off. I have a plan to take down one of the 4 emperors.
Oh, and that look on Law's face, man.
He's good.
Scheming. And that, I feel like, we still don't quite know everything yet. But it puts him into a little more context, which I like.
Yes.
In a way that, like now we're seeing, Law is thinking, like, big level.
Yeah, whatever's here, he's willing to overlook whatever Caesar's doing or help him out ostensibly in order to get what he wants. And obviously his warlord status definitely seems to be a key part of that as well, where apparently there's just a warlord into emperor status that he wants to go to. But there's also the big question of which emperor is he talking about?
Yeah, that is also true. Which is, I mean, God, because when you think about it at this point, because we've got Shanks, Blackbeard, Big Mom, and Kaido. We've already pissed off Big Mom, and Luffy has plenty of reasons to hate Blackbeard. So, yeah, mysteries.
Other than Shanks, I think Luffy's okay with going off after any of them.
Yeah, and the Law's line about like, you either have to affiliate yourself with an emperor or try to be one is that is a big thing. That is crucial.
That's very interesting.
And I think as we'll see as things go on, it really is like it goes to show just how much they rule the new world. And we saw that with Fishman Island, I guess, was sort of our peek into that with how they aligned themselves. System. Yeah, exactly, and that goes for our little rookie pirate cruise too.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and get to our next chapter, 668 Pirate Alliance. And our decks of the world have finally come to an end. And we end it with a visit to Whitebeard and Ace's graves, where people are still visiting. We got like flowers being set there. It looks like Luffy's, somebody put Luffy's paper onto Ace's grave. And we have like a whole cup set up, so somebody like almost did a little cheer to Ace in a way.
Yeah,
so.
And the swords are also an interesting.
Oh yeah, I figured that was there from before. It was like a sign of respect from the crew, but maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, that's good. True. Yeah. Also, since this is the end, this might actually be my favorite cover story series.
Oh really? Oh yes. As a series, yes, because rather than trying to craft a storyline for one of the other people, it's just checking in on things, and none of them are huge in what they reveal, but it really emphasizes the journey, which I think is the brilliance of these these cover stories.
Yeah, and since we're here ostensibly in the second part of the story, it's a good way to recap just like how far we've come with the first half.
Yeah.
And so I think ending it with the graves of Ace and Whitebeard, I think it really it's poignant, you know.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, great set. I I will say I have accidentally stumbled upon what the next cover story is about, or who the next cover story is about. I'm not excited.
oh no.
But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it'll surprise me.
Yeah, who knows?
Either way, let's get into this. And Law wants to make an alliance, and he fully believes that if we join forces, we can actually beat one of the four emperors. And Nami's immediately like, "No, we're not doing this. Don't let you talk about that."
Yeah, and then Law's sort of, his sales pitch is like, I didn't say we'd stroll right up and, fight one of the four emperors and win. If I have a plan, if we follow it in the right order, there's a good chance of pulling it off. And so Luffy here, I love this whole page, this whole sequence here where Luffy's just like, when you say one of the four, which do you mean? And of course, Nami's like, no. But, they have a little conversation that takes place over the course of a few panels. We don't hear them. We can't hear it. So we don't know, but
it shocks Nami, that's for sure. But
yeah,
it excites Luffy. He's like, I see. I'm in.
Yeah. And that's it. Okay.
All right. So we go back to the lab where the shelter's at, and everybody else is, well, except for Robin, is just shocked. Like, we're forming an alliance with the Heart Pirates? No, you can't just come back for something so outlandish. Like, we're against it. Let's not agree to this. We like to travel at our own pace. We can't handle the Emperors. We're too soon for this. And Robin's just all like immediately like, hey, I'll either follow your decision, Luffy, but betrayal is a part of pirate alliances. This might not be a good idea for someone as trusting as you. It's like, Luffy's like, wait, you're going to betray me? No.
I love that. Yeah. My favorite thing about this is how quickly the relationship like flips on a dime, because right now it feels like Law is holding all the cards. And even Luffy's not worried. He's just like, I think Traffy's a good guy, but even if I'm wrong, like, I got you guys in your training, like, we got it.
And I love how immediately like everybody's like takes the compliment. It's like, yeah, you're right. We are pretty good at what we do. So we'll take care of that. But my favorite thing of this set of chapters is Law's interaction with the Straw Hats, and we'll see more
one
of that
of the best things. It is for the foreseeable future. It is one of my favorite character dynamics.
Oh, I'm so excited. The first thing he does is immediately swap back Chopper and Frankie's hearts. And he's so happy. And Robin's like, I'm happy for you. Just don't use Chopper's body again. Ever.
Yeah, I love it. She's laughing it off, but she is incredibly serious.
And I love Chopper being like, what happened? What did you do to my body? It's like, it's his fault.
Yeah, they're pointing at each other. It's like, oh, sorry.
You don't see Chopper this mad at them that often anymore.
Yeah,
so.
It's sort of great. Yeah.
But Nami is no longer, of course, in Frankie's body. She's now in Sanji's body. And, of course, everybody's cracking up about that.
Everybody's laughing. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, because Sanji took Nami's body to go look for the samurai. So... Yeah.
It's so good.
Yep.
But that's when Law starts figuring out like what's the problem with teaming up with Luffy. So he's asking about the kids, and it's like, yeah, we want to save them. It's like, just leave them here. They've been drugged or sorry here. It's like, I know. That's why I tested them. We want to send them home, but we need to find a way to wean them off the drugs. And basically, Law breaks it down. It's like, the forced gigantism in humans is a piece of world government research that's been in the works for centuries. Caesar probably thinks that if he can pull it off, he can rub it in the government's and Vegapunk's noses, but I doubt it'll work. So they want to, have supersized soldiers because it's really useful. You can control your own soldier size.
Yeah. And that's also, it's interesting too, since we've already seen that the Navy does employ giants to some degree, but we've only seen them here and there, so I have to imagine that they're like pretty hard to come by.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way. And Nami basically goes into her speech about like, yeah, the kids are strangers, but they wanted to help us, and I want to help them. I can't leave this island until I know they're safe. And Law takes it as, oh, you're just going to stay here while we all leave. It's like, Luffy's like, no, if Nami and Chopper want to stay, then I'm staying. Also, Sanji wants to see that samurai back together, so if you're part of our alliance, you have to help us, right? And Law's like,
and Law's face.
What?
This is where Law's spirit just like cracked a bit.
Yes, it is amazing to see his facade just start to crack from what Luffy makes him do, because Usopp immediately is like, yeah, just so you know, Luffy's idea for the alliance is probably different from yours. If you thought you'd be holding the reins, you're wrong. When he gets an idea, there's no change in his mind.
I love Luffy's picking his nose. He's like, it's like being friends, right?
And Law's just like, oh, whatever. You handle the samurai, I'll go find out more about the drugs the kids have been given. Whoever the doctor is, come with me. We'll need to track Caesar. And because Chopper can't move at the moment, they strap him to his hat. And that
face from again. Law, that might be my favorite face in this set, because that is truly the face of a broken man. And it just, he so quickly went from like the cool edgelord, you don't know what he's up to, oh, he's got this plan, oh, is he gonna try to manipulate Luffy, and then it's just like, oh no. What have I done?
Especially because I do love the little detail where he takes off Chopper from his hat and just hangs him from his sword.
It's so cute.
It really is. But he breaks down Caesar to him, and basically they're all just like a 300 million berry bounty, weapons of mass murder, Logia gas fruit powers. So if you can't use Haki, stay away. He's no typical lab coat scientist. And Luffy breaks it down. The ones who can use Haki on the crew is him, Zoro, and Sanji. And then, of course, Law. Yep. So he's like, that'll be enough. So I'll head to the lab, and you're going to go find the master and kidnap him. That's the plan.
Yeah, well, and apparently, too, it's not for a ransom, but, Law is trying to create confusion here. And so I do love that he just kind of cuts it off there. Like, hey, there's more, but, unless we pull it off successfully, there's no point. So just go get Caesar Clown.
Yeah, there's no turning back once we do this. So if you need to rethink, do so now. It's like, no, I'm with you. Let's do it.
Yeah, and I love Luffy's committed. And
that's the thing that works. That Law is getting what he wants. It's just all these addendums that he wasn't expecting.
Yes, exactly. And so now, I mean, and much in the same way that I feel like they went out of their way to show Luffy kind of characterized as like Luffy is going to get what he wants no matter what. So that is saving the children and this plan to take down an emperor.
Mm-hmm. Oh, goodness. But we get into the laboratory, and just a whole out fight is going on between the centaurs and the Navy. And immediately seeing just all these big former prisoners that were there. And Tashiki's still trying to figure out what's going on here. But the big concern is we need to get that ship moving to send in our reports. I need to get that ship free.
And further emphasizing that there's control of information going on here.
But hey, we got to really show how much of a monster Caesar is, where the transponder still is ringing. And he's like, it's just a message saying we opened the door, followed by something came out, and then we're going down left and right, save us, and so on. Which a wretched pain. It's like, we don't have any visitors, so, we're getting new subjects. There's a lot of them, so let's introduce him to my pet. He knew what he was sending his men into, and...
Yeah. Can you tell that he's voiced by Frieza in the anime?
Yeah. Honestly, the more you see of Caesar's personality, the Frieza voice actor works.
It fits. It's so good.
Just no care whatsoever for any life.
Yes. Yeah, no. His men are extremely disposable.
So, they open the door. This goopy thing is coming out from the fireside, and it is massive. Unfortunately for these guys, they get caught up in whatever this thing is, and we flip the page and get a giant slime.
Man, this, first we had a dragon, now we've got a slime. Like, oh boy, we are in Dragon Quest territory. But this is not a friendly, cute looking slime. This is a horrifying blob of destruction.
It's very much like Magellan, except huge.
Yeah. Actually, you're so right on that.
Makes you wonder how much he was inspired by Magellan or anything like that. But there's definitely something going on there.
Yeah, I honestly forgot that the slime was an element of this arc at all.
Same.
I'm really excited to kind of see it do its thing, because this does kind of throw a wrench into basically everything.
Very much so. It's our element of chaos for this set.
Yep.
And I didn't remember it, but also certain things clicked into place for me for where I left off. I was like, oh,
right. Mm-hmm.
Like it really feels like within the next 5 to 10 chapters, I'll be caught up.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Yeah, right. I'm really curious if it'll click where you're like, this is new.
Yeah, I'm very curious about that as well. So I'm excited. I'm excited. It's so close.
Yep.
That being said, there is an SBS. There is no reason to cover it. It is the most just inane.
Well, I think the last one is very funny, where somebody says, "Hello, Mr. Oda. Could you tell me what you're thinking about right now?" And he says, "Well, I'm thinking about politics in a sexy way." And same.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Oh, God. All right, let's move on to chapter 669, Commence Operation. And hey, we get our requests again for what our animal and character combinations will be. And this time we get Luffy and Karoo playing in the rain as Vivi tends to a sick frog. And that's cute. Thank goodness Vivi gets a cute one.
I was going to say, I will always be glad when we get a not gross one for Vivi. I'll never let Oda live that down.
Honestly, this just looks like I've never watched the show fully, but it looks like a crossover with Amphibia.
I can see that, yeah.
Also, just a good look for Vivi. It makes you miss her.
Yeah, really.
Oh, well. But into the chapter itself, it's time to catch up with Zoro, Sanji, and Brook. And they're just like, we wasted a bunch of time. We've got to find that samurai. So what happened to us, basically?
Yeah, basically, what the heck happened?
We don't actually know. But earlier we find out that they found the giant footprints. Like, oh, is this the abominable snowman? Oh, we'll find this. And we get each of their interpretations of what the abominable snowman looks like.
Why does Zoro's have a sword?
What is with the cheeks on Brooks? And of course, Sanji is a lady.
Yeah, no, they're all ridiculous.
The funny thing to me is that the one that Sanji imagines kind of looks like the Yetis in Smallfoot. If you ever saw that movie,
I've not. No,
it's remarkably similar to that.
Interesting.
Obviously more typical, but not entirely wrong, which is really funny.
I also have to shout out, like, this particular character dynamic of getting Zoro, Sanji, and Brook is great. It's only really for a couple pages, but it is one of those, like, I never. Yeah, the three of them work very well together.
But once again, we see the Yeti Cool Brothers whole thing where they followed the footprints to a dead end, and then they're behind them where they got hit by the gas, and immediately Brook and Sanji are drunk.
Yep.
And they say even the hardiest drinker will fall into a drunken stupor after being hit by our KYP gas rounds. They're like, yeah, fall there, and again, there's another set of spikes that they're going to be impaled on. That's the whole plan for them. And we do see Zoro's tolerance, where the Sanji and Brook immediately pass out. I wonder if Nami would have been able to hang on better if she was actually in her body. But either way, Zoro is able to cut away the ice, so they just fall sort of not on the spikes, basically. So they're okay there. And then it takes over, and it gets conked out. Sanji's actually the first one to wake up as they're trying to collect their bodies. And he's still strong enough that he can actually take these guys out in Nami's body. Yeah,
well, he's like, I don't want to bruise up Nami's body, but, by kicking those goons. And then lights a cigarette. Sorry about your lungs.
And then he just hits Brook and Zoro awake. He's like, all right, we got to go. But yeah, they're looking out for the samurai. He's looking for his torso around this area. So did he fall into a trap? What's going on here? And they find him by accidentally stepping onto his body.
Yeah, and he is a frozen solid.
Mm-hmm. They break him open. It's like, are you okay? What happened? He's like, no, for some reason I could not move. And I nearly died because you almost froze to death in a blizzard. No, it's not that. I'm not cold. It's like hell you aren't. Can't you just make clothes for yourself? It's like, no, my sorcery is cursed. I have a terrible weakness making it rather difficult for me to swim. It's like, yeah, we know you sink like a stone in water. So I think my torso has fallen into the water somehow. I can feel that on my chest. It's like, well, there's an interesting complication.
Yes. Yeah, and this is Zoro's like, well, if this half's still alive, it means the sharks haven't gotten to him yet.
So it's probably in that lake, so let's go fish him out. Off they go, and it's like the samurai still's like, you're pirates. Why would you do this for total strangers? Like, no, that's because I have a conscience and I want to see this through. Once you're back together, we can have a duel so I can kick your ass. And he's like, yeah, I'll have a duel with you, but I'm not worthy.
Yeah, it is sort of fun because that was like one of the first things I think we knew about the samurai was that he didn't seem to like pirates that much, and so we're kind of through Sanji's weird sense of duty. It's just kind of like, well, I have to help you even though I hate you.
This is a much better arc for Sanji than Fishman Island was.
That is true. Yeah, actually, I think that is more true than you might know.
Oh boy. Yeah, this is Sanji sort of kind of at his best. Maybe a little bit of his girl crazy stuff in there, for the most part, really competent. And
yeah, and I think it's for me, it's the thing where he's like, he's not straightforward with his feelings. Like that, we know that about Sanji. Like he's a bit of a tsundere, you know, like this dynamic where he is stuck with a samurai, you know, who will never admit to anything, you know. It's like, I'm not cold, I don't need your help, but also, you know, I hate pirates and all that sort of thing. So it's like they get to push each other's buttons in a way that's really fun. Yeah.
But as they're chatting, the centaurs from before show up and they're like, get away from the lake. And they're like, oh, what are they doing over there? It's like, what's going on? And it's like, I don't remember a mountain over there. It's like, oh, that thing is huge.
That's no mountain.
But we find out from Caesar that the slime is the chemical weapon that destroyed Punk Hazard 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And they're like, they thought I purified that thing. No, that'd be a waste. No, I compressed it down to a form of a monster. It wasn't a monster before. It is now. So... oh, God. And somehow he's able to control it. So he has a monster poison cloud thing.
You can sort of get the sense that, like I guess that's the weird thing about Caesar, right? Because, again, he really is this mustache twirling clown. But his scientific ability is actually kind of a huge problem.
Yeah. The fact that he's able to take gas and make it alive in a way is
yeah, he is literally making weapons of mass destruction. And just like that, I think we kind of can't let kind of an idiot like him have all this power.
Not a good idea. We go to Smoker's group where they've successfully gotten a hold of the ship, and poor Tashiki is trying to figure out Smoker's powers.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of adorable. It's like, how do I turn back?
They're trying to get into the lab, figure out something, and he's just like, if only I had my own body. And they go around to the rear entrance where Lol and Chopper is, and he's like, stay in the bag. I'll find a way to get them out of the room while you study the drug.
Oh, also Law can teleport.
Oh yeah, he can. Oh my God, he can just teleport.
He can literally do anything.
That is ridiculous.
Law is so broken.
It's like, couldn't you just capture him on your own? Which is a good question, Dare Chopper. Is like, then I have more time to study the drug. It's like, no, there's a reason I can't just do that. It's why I'm teaming up with you guys. So I just need you guys to take Caesar out of the picture as quickly as possible, and I'll handle the rest. And so there is some sort of limitation on him. We just don't know exactly what it is.
Right. Yeah. Which is, God, it's interesting that we still don't quite know everything.
Yeah, we're still got to figure things out. But hey, lol, you know the thing about plans and straw hats? They don't mix because out of
No,
nowhere,
they really don't.
Frankie, Robin, and Luffy just get launched into the area. They crash through the ship that I believe the Navy just successfully got a hold of. And just like, oh, damn it, what? And Luffy just calls out, "Come on out, master. We've come to kick your butt and then kidnap you." It's like, that was supposed to be a secret.
Yeah, this was supposed to be a secret. And it just, I was like, who told him to fight everyone on the way here? Oh my god,
that's so perfect.
Yeah, so there you go. There's plans.
Yes. We do have an SBS before we end things off, though. And we learned that, hey, there's an unlimited amount of hairstyles that Frankie can have, which is great.
Yeah. Basically a new one every arc.
Hey, I'm down for that. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like the variety. And then we learned about Usopp, which I was actually wondering about this myself. He's like, won't he eventually run out of those new greens that he's been using? And as he explains, Usopp now has a garden next to Nami's tangerine trees. And you'll actually see him working on it in the One Piece Film Z movie. So basically he hasn't been able to squeeze it in yet, but Usopp has a way to cultivate these special seeds.
Cool.
Which is great. I love explanations like that.
Yeah, I had no idea that was a thing, so I'm glad. And it's fun that Oda just like, I couldn't figure out a way to put a scene like that in the manga.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah.
Didn't have enough downtime to show that off in the manga, so we'll put it in the movie.
Yeah. Also, I really like the fan art banner for this SBS where it's Tashigi in Smoker's body making a cloud of SBS with smoke, and she just can't control it. It's adorable.
It really is. All right. Well, time for this final chapter of this set. 670, Blizzard with a Chance of Slime. And we have Robin interferes with an arm wrestling match between Frankie and a gorilla, which I like how she's helping the gorilla.
Yeah, fantastic. This one's so cute.
It really is. Love the outfit on Robin. Love that hat.
Yeah. God, yeah, this one's so cozy. This is a great scene.
Frankie's face is really great too.
Yep.
Hey, we get to see even more hairstyles for him thanks to these as well. So
yeah,
we can really show off.
He's having fun.
But yeah, we're right into it. So like immediately everybody's like, take him down, the Straw Hats. And Frankie's fighting and Robin's there fighting with him. I love how we mix up the crew all the time. Like, I don't think we've had exactly this combination in a while. That's fun.
Yeah, I love Luffy's just like, well, we're here. Where's the master? He's just like, all right, mission accomplished.
He's like, we got to go inside the laboratory. And that's when Tashigi as Smoker shows up. Is like, oh, what are you planning, Luffy? And it's like, oh, hey, Smoker, you all right? I was worried after I saw you on the ground. And she tries to attack with her sword. And it's like, yay, I actually used the smoke. Well.
She finally got it to work.
Oh, man, Luffy just using that hockey to grab the smoke. And like, well, there's our confirmation that Smoker's not really as much of an issue as he was before. It's like, what happened? You're all weak now.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Smoker in his actual body might be at least a little bit more competent, but yeah, no, Luffy can just grab it now, which is, God, such night and day from when they first met.
Mm-hmm. And Smoker, as Tashigi, able to actually hold Luffy off reasonably well by using his Sea Prism Stone club to actually get some good jabs in on Luffy.
I love that he's got a little bit of a pride. He's like, oh, come on, I don't want to see myself losing to him.
And it's like, wait, Glasses Lady, when did you get that strong? Like, what was your name again? It's like, wait, you're Smoker? It's like, oh, Law must have switched him.
I love that face from Luffy.
It's just a little shift to the side. It's like, huh?
Yeah. And then when he realizes that that's Smoker in Tashigi's body. And I love this bit where, like, every time they figure it out, they're all just laughing.
I love the laughter, but I also like feel for Tashigi, and where he's like, Luffy just candidly says, no wonder that one's so weak. And it's just like,
the disrespect. But yeah. I do also like that, Luffy's just like, you know what, we'll fight later. Like, yeah, there's no point to this.
No, this isn't really worth my time. So bye. And Frankie immediately busts open the hole of his door thanks to his laser. And they're heading off, and all of a sudden they look at the ship in the distance, and there's bits of slime just sort of covering it.
And apparently there's bits of slime falling from the sky.
Covering up some of the men as well. It's like it's spraying poison gas, slicing it, shooting it, gas comes out, so get the masks on. It's like, what the heck is that thing? And it's moving, and it starts combining into itself and growing larger. It's like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah, and you seemingly can't do anything about it. Well, and I love that, God, because they're just like, oh God, what do we do? Just push the boat in the river and keep going. But, or they're trying to push it out. And of course he just gets set on fire.
Yeah. He gets gassed or whatever happens to him. He's just not in great shape. Doesn't seem to be as toxic as a Magellan, but it is like on his skin. He's just like, get it off. It's and then there's like, we go full the thing with the fire, get the flamethrower. So, which is not a bad plan.
Yeah. And it seems to be working
until it explodes.
God, I actually love the introduction of slime into this arc. This really feels like, oh God, what are we going to do about this?
It has that same feel as when Noah got launched. It's like, okay, we have things kind of under handle here. It's hard to say that Caesar's going to be that much of an issue, especially with Luffy's hockey and whatnot. So that shouldn't be a problem. But with slime involved, what do you do with that?
Yeah,
that's the big question.
Unkillable slime. Well, and I love that they're celebrating it. They're just like, either way, it's dead now. And then it just keeps coming. There's just more of it just keeps plopping down from the sky.
I love how Smoker's really concerned for his men too. That's great character moments right there.
Yeah, as much as he hates those G5 fellas, but he loves them.
And that's when the centaurs are like us, like, it takes care of that, and hey, we're fine. So good on you, Navy, but we don't have to deal with it, so we can take care of you. And more just keep falling from the sky, and they're like, oh, we got to get out of here too.
Yep.
But that's when Caesar makes his grand entrance and actually shows himself off to everybody, and get a meeting between Luffy and Caesar.
Yeah, and I actually really like this because I feel like this is very telling for Caesar as a character, because he basically shows up to gloat. he can't help himself. He needs to see his creation, his slime. He needs to see it in action and to see it take lives in the way that he's just give him a little while longer. He doesn't like water, you see. Like the slime is literally launching himself across the lake from one side of the island to the other, which is awesome. For
the fire. So he's just popping out pieces of all that way, which is okay. That's cool.
This thing has like sentience.
Yeah, and it's massive. We can see it in comparison to Zoro's group, and it's just like they're just like, so we got something weird and creepy doing something weird and creepy. What do we do about this?
Yep.
Somehow we got to get it into the water, but for now we're in a time limit, because once all the pieces of the slime have traveled from the fireside, they're going to be in trouble, and he's getting ready to gloat even further, and that's when Luffy just grabs him and is like, gotcha.
Yeah, it's just like, well, again, Caesar Clown is not a very smart individual, despite being a genius. So I feel like we're going to see a lot of this of Caesar just can't help himself, and that is his big character flaw.
Especially because Luffy doesn't let him just go on and on. He actually will interrupt.
Oh yeah. Which is that is a great trope for any villain, and I love seeing it here.
And the funny thing is, that's how our set ends. Just Luffy grabbing hold of Caesar.
Mid speech. You know what? Wouldn't have it any other way.
Nope, that works. We do have one final SBS. One person decided to count all the exclamation points from chapter 1 to 636. And in that amount of time, there was a grand total of 150,096 exclamation points, averaging 236 per chapter. Wow.
I love Japanese One Piece fans, man. They have all of the time on planet Earth.
What weird thing can I do to get Oda to notice me and feature me in the question corner?
And it worked. It worked.
Does. I also like how we get sort of the inspiration for Sanji's look, where he's like, oh, I thought he looked a lot like Leonardo DiCaprio in Romeo and plus Juliet. But my friend says no way. So did you model him after anyone? I was like, well, yeah, it's a more obscure background model to the point of not wanting an obvious physical reference. It's more like get his attitude and mannerisms across. He's based on Steve Buscemi from Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, that's so funny.
That is amazing.
That is not where I thought this was going to go.
Nope, I had no idea that Sanji would be based on Steve Buscemi.
That's so good.
Now I'm just imagining him coming up and doing the whole, how do you do, fellow kids?
Yeah, yes. Somebody needs to draw that. Oh my God.
Sanji trying to hit on somebody or something like that. I don't know. But it'd be funny. The only person who ever guessed it correctly was an employee of Bandai years ago, which, hey, good on them. I don't know how they figured that out, but
that's fantastic. That's so good.
But yeah, it's again, overall good set of chapters. Things are moving ahead. We're definitely getting towards a endpoint for this, where things are. It doesn't feel like there's going to be too much more fluff because there's not really people to deal with. And Caesar's out in the open. We've got a plan. It's really going to be dealing with slime, it seems like, for the most part.
Yeah, I feel like, in a weird way, it does kind of feel like, you know, we're kind of moving, not into the finale necessarily, but like, you do kind of wonder how much, like, there's not really that much left to do, it feels like. The whole goal of this arc is to catch Caesar, and I'm sure it's going to be more complicated than Luffy just, like, grabbing him, but, like, that was sort of the major goal, and, you know, it just, things are moving right along, and I'm sure Sanji's going to get the samurai's body back together, you know, probably soonish. Feels like all of the moving parts are all starting to come together.
Yeah, I'm so curious whether it's 5 or 10 chapters until I'm caught up, because it feels like it's coming so soon.
It feels close.
At the pace this is going, like it feels like it should have been a little bit further out based on the old pace, but this pace for this story is just on the move.
Yeah, and that's something I actually really like. This is actually a really fast-paced arc so far.
It's nice. It's nice to just keep things moving here, and I don't know. I'm digging it. I can definitely see where issues might arise here and there. But so far, where everybody's placed is kind of working for me. It's just the only unfortunate thing I had was that Oda had a great setup for the Yeti Cool Brothers, and they ended up being kind of a nothing.
He just gave up.
Yeah,
that's so weird to me. I've never seen something like that in One Piece before. I think we're like something that very obviously has. You think like, oh, this is gonna get used later, or this is gonna like has some kind of use, and then he just drops it.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Very, very much so, but it's all right. But anyway, with that said, I believe we've said all we've wanted to say about chapters 666 to 670 of One Piece. Thank you so much for listening, and you can find more of my ramblings and stream VODs over at BitNerd Games on YouTube, or BitNerd with an underscore at the end on Twitter, and also on BlueSky without the underscore. And Brandon, where can everyone find you at?
I'm Brandon Bovia on Twitter and BlueSky. You can catch me talking about anime, manga, games, and my job. And speaking of those, actually, I think this will be out this will be like passed by the time that this episode comes out. But the pop culture journalism website called But Why Though is holding a fundraiser. Because basically the owner pays all of their contributors like out of pocket, basically.
Oh wow!
And so there's a big like fundraising stream where there's going to be a lot of guests, you know, talking about various things. I'm going to be on that stream talking about One Piece, actually.
Oh, nice.
I'll be there with some contributors from the site and some other people across the games industry. So it should be a good time.
I love how you're like, you work on Dragon Ball, you work on Kaiju number 8, but you always, when you go on podcasts, it's always about One Piece.
It's always about One Piece. That is true. Yeah, the one thing that I don't work on.
Definitely check that out. That sounds like a really good time. And hey, if you'd like to help us out more, you can support the podcast over at patreon.com/Derrick Bittner. That's DerrickBitner to listen to the next episode ad-free 3 days early, as well as our new tiers where you can get exclusive Q&As and episodes of this podcast where we cover other things about One Piece. And of course, make sure to return next time as we discuss chapters 671 to 675 of One Piece. So until then, my friends, bye.
Remember to take life one piece at a time.
I will go along with this, but we are all pirates. And where you have pirates, well, you're sure to have betrayal. I'm just concerned because you're so quick to trust.
Hey, are you gonna betray me?
No.